remember. Sup, you fools, right? Do it.
Suck, you fools.
Suck. Now, and first, it's not what's up.
Okay.
It's sup, you fools.
Oh,
Okay.
sup. Okay. Like
Yes.
supper
Right.
without the puh.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Can you do it, Roy?
Sup, you fools. But then-
Gosh, you need more energy. Sup, you fools. And you're the fools, it has to go up. Oh, wait.
Sup.
We're live.
Okay.
Shush.
What?
I think we're live.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, guys.
okay.
We were
Oh, God.
practicing my intro.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Since they suck, I gotta
Hey.
do it. Actually, no, you do it, Robert. Why don't you try?
Sup, you fools.
It's Matt, ESC United, your favorite Eurovision channel, and we're here. Welcome to the Melodifestivalen Adal Vidbir post chat. So this is where we're going to talk about the results of the show, and boy, what a night! Shockers, surprises. Let's delve right into it. I got Roy and Robert joining me today to discuss this insane evening. A lot of WTF moments. Doesn't mean WTF is actually bad per se, but it's very unexpected. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I see a little. Anyway, let's talk about Melodifestivalen. Semi-final 2 is over, and we have had some really big surprises. First of all, the biggest surprise, the first finalist announced, and I forgot her name already. I have all it up here right now. But
we're all so ready for it.
I know, I was
Yeah.
totally ready because I was just looking up Adal real quick. We're going to talk about that afterwards. But we had a pretty surprising qualifier from the second semifinal. It was the second song of the night. Do you guys remember what she was called?
Malupritz.
Melodifestivalen. That is right. That was on no one's radar. It was not even like in like the when they had the polls with the audience in the rehearsal. It wasn't anywhere near the top. And here it's all of a sudden first qualifier. Malupritz. I think a lot of jaws dropped. A lot of shock, maybe some of them pleasant surprise. So let's talk this through. Robert, what was your first reaction when this one was announced as the qualifier?
I was absolutely gobsmacked, Matt. I could not believe that this song made it through. It felt really trashy to me when we were listening to it live.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing that made it stand out. And to see that, I mean, even seeing that in the top 5, to be quite honest with you, was a bit of a surprise. To see that as the top 2, goodness me. Yeah, that was just incredible.
Yes,
I
so
could not
I was
believe it.
actually surprised to see it in the top 5 as well, and not surprised. I was like, okay, because you knew someone else would be left behind, although I was shocked that Oscar with I Love It was dead last. Like, even Jan Malmsmö, the 85-year-old thing, got more points than Oscar. What do you think, Roy?
Yeah, that was a big surprise to me that he got that last. I didn't really like his performance necessarily. I thought it was a bit bland, and I found myself going onto my phone really, and so it kind of distracted me in general. So I'm not surprised that it didn't go through to any round, but last is a bit too harsh in my opinion.
Yeah, so what do you think about the surprise qualifier, though? Malmö-Pritz, did you see that coming? Like, did you got a feeling, okay, this may actually be something there?
Well, honestly, I didn't see it coming, but secretly I kind of hoped it would come because, you know, she's a really young girl and she just worked her ass off, and the clips shown were a lot worse than what she performed tonight. And I think the song is just catchy in its own way. I found that it sounds a little bit like Work From Home from Fifth Harmony. Like the melody is a little bit the same, but then it's like 1/5 of Fifth Harmony, I guess. But I am surprised that it qualified, but I would have liked to see it in Anders Janssen at least.
Yeah, I thought that Anders Janssen was a gig. I was surprised about the direct qualification. I thought, I mean, I'm a little bit with Robert here. I felt as to me it was a High School Musical feel to it, but at the same time, I still say what I said earlier. I think that the song quality of this semifinal was certainly underwhelming in my view. I didn't think there was anything that really stood out where I was like, okay, that one's going to fly through, except for the Liamo song. But I was still shocked that this one was the one that was going through. But we are very happy for them because I mean, you cannot be mad at her. She did her thing, right? Even though we don't like the song, we cannot be mad at her for that. But before I go into the next question, I just want to, Eurotowley, thank you again for your super chat support. Rock on, ESC United. We'll keep on rocking, baby, don't stop. Love for Hatari. Need a quick question of your opinions of Montenegro. Bosnia-Herzegovina 1999, Denmark 1993, Montenegro 2016. I liked Montenegro 2016. I didn't get Bosnia-Herzegovina 1999. It was just really it was just odd to me. And I don't remember 1993 at the top of my head. So Tawali, next time put the name at least so I can click with it, because I'm trying to think what 1993 is, but it's just not coming to me. I like Montenegro 2016. I did for Bosnia in 1999, and then Denmark. I don't remember. Do you guys remember any of them besides Montenegro?
No, that was before my time.
Yeah, same for me. 1993, I wasn't born yet, so yeah.
Well, I know all the songs all the way back to 1956, and I wasn't born in 1956. I'm a big nerd, so I go back all the way. Yes, I know them all. I just can't think of them when I just see the title.
I need to see a name of the song or an artist at least.
Anyway, let's go back then. So, but once that song was announced, right? When we know Malupritz is through, we knew there will be a sacrificial lamb here, right? Somebody is not going to make it. What were your thoughts at that particular point in time, Robert?
So, well, out of the top five, sorry, the top four now, I suppose. Malu already through to the final. I really wasn't sure. In all honesty, I thought it was going to be Vlad. Out of the remaining four, I agree with you. I thought Liamu was easily the qualifier that was going to make it. I was expecting Margaret to go with him, and Andreas to go through to Andra Hansen, and now I suppose Margaret going through to Andra Hansen. With Malu going through directly to the final. That was my expectation.
What about you, Roy? When you saw Malu was through, did you think that Vlad would be out, or you still think that it could be someone else?
No, honestly, I think Vlad was quite a good performance, and I really enjoyed the song. I was more fearing the life of Andreas Johnson, to be honest. I didn't really click with it as much as others may have. And I thought it was a bit odd and a bit lackluster in certain ways. So I was fearing that Andreas Johnson would not qualify to Anders Johnson.
Okay. I was worried about him as well. I definitely put him as a Anders Johnson candidate. Somebody says echo is there. Let me take a look here if there's any of the screen there that would cause an echo. Just bear with me. While we get up. Were you shocked? Did you guys like Margaret's performance? I'm going to start with you, Roy, while I'm looking the echo situation up.
Well, honestly, I think the green screen was a bit off-putting from the song. I think it distracted me a little bit too much to really be able to listen to the song. And once you have that effect, it's more like background music that you hear in an elevator or in a restaurant or something. And so for me, I didn't really gravitate towards the song, and it was more about the performance rather than the song. And I didn't think it was that good.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was actually surprised. First of all, it was a very interesting staging with the whole, let's make it look like a music video. But I thought that this was going to be a little bit more well-liked. Like, oh, that looks good, because it has a little bit of a Benjamin Ingrosso feel to it, to me, I thought. Like the way it looked. Not like the same style, but, let's make it look like a music video. So I thought people will gravitate towards that one. What do you think, Robert?
I have to say, I was not a fan at all of Margaret's song, and I am sorry if to any fans of her song. I thought that I was really happy to see that she didn't make it through to either Andra Hansen or into the final. It's not my kind of scene at all. I don't think I've ever really been a fan of any of her music that she's put forward for Eurovision. So, yeah, I'm just happy to see her gone. I thought it was underwhelming, and I'm just really happy that she's not made it through. Sorry.
Really?
Not sorry.
No, I mean, Do you think, and it was really just the song, or do you really think people just were like, she's not Swedish, we're gonna go for someone else, or was it really just people didn't click with that song? I was very shocked to see her not go through.
Well, she made the final last year.
song. Yeah,
what she did,
exactly.
what she did through a second chance, right? She got second chance,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
she got
true.
through, yeah.
But then that's you know, she was top four in the semi last year. She still makes it through duel and makes it into the final this year. Yeah, I just think it was a weaker song than she's sent in other years, and that's why she's not made it through, basically.
Yeah. Roy, can you check your camera? I think your camera turned off.
My camera is working fine, I think.
Really?
In Skype, it seems like
I don't see
it
you in
is.
Skype either.
Oh, really?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
So-
maybe you have to restart or something like that.
Wait, Robert does see me and you don't?
No.
Yes.
Anyway, so let me
Okay.
just go while we're fixing that. Yes, so you guys are not as into the song. Again, it was certainly not as good. Well, I didn't even care for In My Cabana, but do you all agree that Hannah Firm and Liamo had the best song of the night?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it's that hard to say otherwise. I think that their song was really interesting. It was catchy. They worked really well together as well. I think that was really quite noticeable. It worked as a duet. The background was a little odd, but I kind of liked it. Although I suppose I can totally understand some people not be fans of it. With the kind of the bed sheets. I assume someone's going to be sleeping on a very uncomfortable bed tonight. But yeah, overall, I think it was a really well performed song, and I am very happy to see them all the way through.
Yeah, any other thoughts? Like I said, anything else we should point out? Other acts that should get some mentioning on that show? Roy?
Well, honestly, I like the old school acts, if you may say so. I think it was a really fun one. You always have them in the show, and you know, I've seen a lot worse performances from an old school artist. I really enjoyed his performance.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it should go through or anything, but yeah.
Yes. So yeah. So if you could have picked someone based on your personal taste, Robert, which one would have been the two that you would have put through?
So I would have still stuck with Limao straight through to the final, and I also would have put through. I think I would have put Andreas straight through to the final. In all honesty, it's not quite my normal thing. I mean, I did find the semi as a whole a little bit weak, and that made it quite easy to try and decide which ones to put through. But yeah, I think I would have gone for Andreas and Limao as my two choices directly to the final.
Okay. How about you, Roy?
Liamo was the clear favorite, and in my opinion, also the best song. So that one should have definitely gone through. And then for me, it's really between Vlad and Malu. I'm not sure which one of the two I would have picked. I think Malu because it's a bit more polished and a bit more refined, whereas I thought that Vlad's staging and sound quality wasn't as good as it could have been. Like he could have really worked on that a bit more to make it have a bit more of a punch, maybe.
Okay. That's fair. By the way, I'm having some camera issues here right now, so if you see the screen moving around, I'm trying to fix it, but you know, technology, sometimes how it goes out of your control, but I'm working on it. Anything on your... then who would be the two Andra Chanson candidates for you, Robert?
So for me, I would have gone for Vlad, which I'm going to possibly have to apologise for because it's not my usual kind of thing, and I still don't understand why he'd not bother taking his suit out of the plastic wrapping it came in. But there was something about it that just kind of appealed to me, and I just kind of enjoyed it. And as I say, not a great semi, so I'd have put that through. And of course, I just have to go for the poor old man who got lost on his way home back from the opera. He's just had a night out. He's, you know, the suit and jacket's looking a bit dishevelled, and he's just wandered in to the wrong room, and suddenly he's in Melodifestivalen. I just found it was charming, and one of the things I'm most glad about from the semi is that he was not last.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing. I was kind of hoping for him. It's like he was, in case those who don't know, he was taking part the first time in Melodifestivalen in 1969. So this is just like almost like a Or refugees?
So that was when you were in your teenage years.
So, anyway, uh, rude. No, that's actually who he was, and I think it was really just more like, let's celebrate the history. I think everyone knew that he was not going to be anywhere near the top. So that is
Yeah.
unfortunate, but hey, at least he got to go. That's what I'm saying, and that was his last moment, I guess, at Melodifestivalen. Is there anything else we need to? Did you guys like the interval acts? Anything about the show that we should point out?
The intervals were fine. I think last week's were better. But the kind of the kind of genres that they were playing this week are a little bit more the rap style. And anyone who knows me knows I detest rap in all its forms, and therefore, yeah, it was never going to be winning me over that far. But yeah, it was all right.
It was all right. How about you, Roy?
Yeah, I thought the rapping start was a bit strange, but honestly, I didn't really pay attention too much to it because there were so many others, semi-finals and finals going on. So I was also paying a bit of attention to those. So I didn't really pay as close attention to them as I did last week.
Okay. Well, I feel kind of the same way. As it was happening, I was doing other stuff. I was looking up other national finals. I started writing an article because that's basically what I do because there's so much going on. You can hardly keep track of everything that's happening. So it was the same way with me. So Robert, we lost your camera. I know it's working, but for some reason it's not showing on the screen right now. So yeah. So I don't know what's happening right now, but it's all right. Now it's popping up again. Gosh, this camera thing is driving me nuts right now. So forgive me for all the delays here, guys. I'm working the best I can.
It's all right. Just imagine I'm the cat talking in the background for that, and then it should be fine.
Exactly. Now, who are you looking forward to the most next week?
Oh, right. I haven't even looked at that yet. Let me see.
How about you, Robert?
I actually also haven't looked at it yet. I just look forward to seeing Victoria again in the final.
Oh, it's all about you, Victoria. Well, I'm looking for Jan Hendrik next week. I think he's performing.
Oh, right,
really
yeah.
excited.
Oh, well, there we go. Yeah, he's someone to look forward to, too.
He's definitely someone to look forward to.
Definitely. I love his previous entries, and yeah, I think that he will come out with a really good song again. Let me see, I found the picture here. I'm also kind of interested to see Lovers of Valdaro. They won the P4 Nesta, of course. And yeah, I think they can come with a really cool song. I really like their attitude towards music, and I'm very curious to see what they come with.
Okay, that's fair. So yeah, it's going to be interesting what's going to happen next. So since we're done with Melodifestivalen, let's talk about Adal. In case you don't know, Adal had actually, let me just answer one question. Apparently, Oscar got more votes than Jan, but he came sixth because of the age groups. That's what they're saying. Okay, so who knows? I have no idea. We'll have to wait for the Oh, the age group thing, right. I forgot about that. They do this weird ranking where, each age group has a certain way in the whole app voting, I think, right?
Yeah, I think it's effectively that each age group effectively becomes a jury on its own or something. So it's a percentage of that age group. So even if you only had 10 people voting in one age group, they would be weighted the same as an age group that got 1,000 people voting.
Oh,
so it's trying to get spread.
Yeah, because they had a lot of they had a lot of issues. Well, they had a lot of little kids voting in the app, and they kind of want to prevent that the song chosen will be a song that only kids gravitate towards. So I think that was their way of fixing it.
Oh, all right. Hey, that's definitely how it works. Do you think it's a good idea to do it that way, though, or you think it's not going to have a major impact anyway?
Well, I think it's kind of weird that they have it via app anyways. All the other countries just have it via televoting, like just calling in or sending a text, and the kids can't really send a text, but then they'll say to their parents, "Oh, Dad, Mom, I want to vote for this song," and they may be like, "Okay, son, yeah, you have a vote," and maybe that would balance it out a bit more too. But I guess it's a cool system, and yeah, maybe it will help to have a bit more of a maybe less poppy song as we usually see.
Yep, that is true. That is true. That is true. But as said, it wasn't the only show that we had. We had plenty of other shows that happened. Adal was one of them. And Adal, in case you know how it works, this is now, we had the 3 heats in a row, and then songs qualified, because that's how it works, right? And then at that point, we moved on to the semifinal stage. So tonight, there were a bunch of songs performed, I think 8. And 3 of them, what?
9.
9, that's right,
Yes.
9, sorry. And basically, 3 of them were chosen by the juries with a little bit of an extra vote from the actual televoters.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had 1 pure televoter. So that was a very interesting approach, I guess. And guys, everyone in the chat, I will have to go offline and online real quick for 2 seconds. I got to refresh my my broadcasting thing here, and then we'll be back. So the screen will freeze for probably like 15 seconds, so don't go anywhere. Okay, everybody, so I am back. Once again, sorry about this weird delay. I'm doing the best I can. I'm multitasking. I will definitely not use this software going forward because it just does not seem to be working. So hopefully it'll be back to normal now. If not, I'll just deal with what we have right now. But anyway, let's start over. Not with Melodifestivalen, of course, because we're done with that. But with Hungary, just to explain, we have Hungary, 9 songs performing. This is the first semi-final. 3 songs chosen for the most part by the juries, and then partially by the televote, but then the 4th one, going through completely 100% televote. So
Yeah.
let's talk about it. So that was a very interesting show as well. In my opinion, some really big surprises. What do you think, Roy?
Actually, I predicted the entire semi-final correctly.
You did not really.
I did. I did. Yeah, you can just see it at the previous results too. It's not that I'm the biggest fan of the song from Petrushka, for example, but he got a lot of points last time, and there was no way he was not going to go through. And the same thing was with Acoustic Planet. The jury loved it, and so I knew that those 2 would go through. I expected Roses to come in 3rd, and then it was really between Ben Favra, or whatever way you pronounce it, and Denise for me. But Denise gets crucified by the juries because he's rap, I guess. But I like that song a lot better. But yeah, I think this song was foreseeable.
Yeah. See, but I was surprised still, though, because I thought the Middletons, they got a lot of points the first time around as well. I mean, they still got decent points, but not enough. But Ben Vavra, also qualifying, didn't get as many points the last time around, and now all of a sudden they just really ramped up the points, the juries, and they just were directly qualified. So I didn't see that one coming, and that definitely took probably the Middleton spot, even though they ultimately qualified because of the televote. But that means someone else was left out yet. USNK or Yes Yes and Denise, right? Those are 3 fan favorites, and they're all out. What do you think, Robert?
So this is my first encounter with the Hungarian selection, so I hadn't looked at the previous heat results. In all honesty, not the best selection of songs for my tastes, as I have already said about my lack of liking of rap songs, and there were quite a few in that genre for me in that selection. I am really glad that Ben Savara has made it through. That was my favourite of the selection, which not saying a huge amount, but still it was my favourite. So I'm really happy to see that through. Again, I can understand where you're coming from, saying Denise, there's a lot of chat on the ESC United forum about Denise getting through. It seemed to be quite popular there, but clearly I think it probably came down to that and the Middletons, and clearly Middletons just pulled ahead in the that final televote only spot. Any surprises? Maybe not. I'm a little bit surprised that Petrushka's made it based on the song alone, but as Roy said, did quite well in the previous heat, so maybe less of a shock to somebody who's seen those.
Yeah,
to me, it felt very middle of the road.
Yeah, and Denise definitely has received a lot of points from, like, because when they have the jury votes, there's like this one viewer vote as well, right? Denise always gets like 9 points, which is like basically almost the highest score you can get there. I've never seen 10, I think, with the viewers. I could be wrong. So they were very, very popular. It's not just like on the forum. It's like everywhere. This was a very, very popular song. So the fact it didn't make it to the semis, to the finals in the end, is slightly a surprise to me. But it feels as, especially in this semi, it seems the juries and the voters didn't quite agree as much. Is that a fair assessment, Roy?
Yeah, but that's been the story of the entire selection so far, really. For example, Leander Kills was a big fan favorite, and honestly, that song is really good. But the juries just didn't give it enough points to go through. And then you have them paired up with USNK, which has a big following in Hungary. And, you know, that's the way Leander Kills got killed, really. But yeah, it's a bit weird because Petrushka is not really a song that juries would gravitate towards normally, I feel like.
Which one? I was sneezing.
The Petrushka song.
Petrushka, okay.
It's a bit of a circus, I would say.
Circus?
Well, not necessarily circus, but it's a bit... I'm not really fond of the sound of it. It's like the woo. It's
yeah, close, but okay.
Whatever.
It sounds spot on to me.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
to me,
I have to say-
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I kind of agree with Roy that I didn't see a lot in that one. I didn't think it was particularly memorable, or I mean, it was okay, but it's the kind of song that you're going to forget about within 5 minutes of listening to it. So I was a bit surprised that made it through to the final, but hey, I'm not
This
sure.
is where we disagree, because it's my personal number one in Adele. It's like by far my favorite song. And it's cheerful, it's sweet, it's uplifting, and to me, it was immediately stuck in my head. Someone help me out of here. Ooh, it's like so catchy. Like, it was just, his kind of music really works for me. So I was in love with it. I didn't think it was going to go through. Yes, he got a decent amount of points in the first heat, but didn't get that many televoters, right? So I was like, oh, that's not going to survive the semis. But now he's actually climbing in the televote as well. He got 8 points now, which is already a good indicator that this is probably a grower for a lot of people, which makes me personally very, very happy because I love it. So, but I'm with you in that sense that I did not expect it to go through. Now, Acoustic Planet is the winner of the night, receiving a total of 45 points. Agree, disagree, Roy?
Well, it's a pretty Hungarian song, so the juries will always go for that. And it's not necessarily my favorite song of the selection, but I can see why it went through and why others didn't. That's, I guess, the way the voting works in Hungary. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say about it.
Yeah, how about you, Robert?
Yeah, for me again, it kind of almost feels like an album song. It's not the one that you're ever going to release as a major hit, but it's one that's good enough to be there nonetheless. It was nice. It was a bit easy listening. I enjoyed the feel to it. But again, is it the kind of thing that is going to be sticking in my head for the next few days? No, in all honesty, it's not. So, yeah, I'm a little surprised maybe to have seen that winning the semi, but I can understand why it's qualified, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's pleasant enough, but it's not as remarkable to me as it's being... as the jury seem to feel like it. It's a good song. I can see the quality in it. It just doesn't grab me as much as it does with the jury. So I'm a little... I don't know if it's going to win anyway. I mean, it does fairly well in the viewer vote, but I don't think it's going to be at the very top at the end of the day. But that's how it goes. What about Ben's Vavra? Was that a surprise for you guys?
Well, I listened to his song, and honestly, it was quite good. Last year he was there as well with when he still called Ceasefire X, and his song back then was really just a hard mess. This year, his song is a bit more structured, and he lives it a bit better live. So I think he deserves that he's into the final. And I don't think he should win, or that he should be in the super final, but we'll only have to wait for that, I guess.
Okay. Robert, any thoughts?
my favourite of the night, and yeah, I think he's delivering well live, which is really nice to see. So yeah, I'm really glad to see it. Again, do I think it's going to win? Almost certainly not. It doesn't appear to be the kind of thing that Hungary go for as a general rule.
Mhm.
But I still enjoy it. I'm glad it's in the final, and you never know. We've seen quite a few surprises in the last today, so who knows? We might see a surprise in a couple of weeks as well.
Yeah. Well, if you could pick one of the non-qualifiers to go through out of the 5, who would it be, Robert?
Ooh, I think it would have to be slightly costly again for me. Yes, with incomplete.
Yes.
Just yeah, I know, slightly left field to like the suggestion. I'm not such a fan of the chorus, but I think that the rest of the song is really good, and it's good fun. Yeah, it's a bit daft, but hey, we've got to have a bit daft. It's Eurovision after all.
Yes. And how about you, Roy? Who would you bring back?
I think I would go with Denise. His song is really cool. The rapping part is whatever for me too. You know, I like rap. I don't mind it. But the girl in the song is really what makes it great and makes it stand out. And yeah, I would probably put that in if it were up to me.
Okay. All right. I personally, I mean, I would probably. I didn't quite get into the Ben Zvavra song, so if I had to bring someone back, I would go with Denise probably. I think just that one, just to me, would have been a fun Hungarian pop song that I felt as was a little bit different than from what we're used to, and that's to me was probably the most outstanding one that didn't make it. So that would be my opinion. So, but overall, I am just thrilled that my Petrushkas through and the Middletons. Those were the two I was rooting for the most. So that worked out in my favor, even though I was getting nervous for the Middletons. Do you think that the winner is of Adal is in this semi or is still to come? Robert.
I really hope it's in the second semi, because none of these first semi songs. I mean, okay, fine, maybe my favourite, but I've already agreed that it's not going to win. Really screams me winner here, so I'm looking forward. As I say, not heard the heat, so I'll listen next week and I'll see what I think. But yeah, I think it's going to be second semi simply because I don't think there's a winner yet. But who knows? I could be wrong.
You agree, Roy?
Well, it all really depends on whether the Middletons get enough votes from the jury to go to the super final. If it will be in the super final, then I think it is their year to win. And honestly, I wouldn't mind that. I think it's a really good song, and if you were to bring rap to the stage, this is done excellently. And the only one that I can really see doing better is the, let me see, Holna from Boginage. I think that is just a really pretty song. She's just sitting there on the top like a dreamy elf, I guess, and she's just singing this pretty melody, and I wouldn't mind seeing that on Eurovision either. And if Middletons don't make the semi-final, then that probably will, and I would like to see that win them instead.
That is fair. I think it could go. I agree with you, Roy, that I think the Middletons, if they can make it to the super final, I can see them actually winning this thing. I think there are the potential winner. There are two I think are on my radar. One is the Middletons, and once again, the juries will then decide whether or not it's worthy of a super final slot. The other one I think is in the second semi, and I think it's Fatal Error. I think that one just has a huge fan following. It's one of the few songs this year that has both the jury and the televote support, and that is very, very important, obviously. So the fact that there's so much discrepancy in the voting this year, the fact that there's one that seems to be well liked by both, could be just enough to put them really through to the top. But that is definitely my prediction, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, I like that prediction as well, but I'm not sure if I would like to see two rock entries in a row, because then you get the label of being the rock country. And yeah, I like the song. But yeah.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, though. Would we say the same about Cyprus now that that's in two pop songs, diva pop songs in a row, saying, "Oh, this is the diva pop country now"? It seems when we have like these kind of style, people all assume, well, you cannot send two rock slash metal songs in a row because it's such a distinct sound. We don't do that with any other genre, and that is why I feel like they shouldn't worry about that too much, because just because they do it twice, and that's the kind of music that they like. In addition to that, AWS has a very, very different sound than Fatal Error in that sense, right? It's harder. I mean, that's more like hard rock, I would put Fatal Error, while the other one is more on the... There's a specific term, I forgot what it's called, for the genre. People always get mad at me when I just call it metal, because it's not like traditional metal. But it's more that kind of area. So I find that, not necessarily people should feel like you shouldn't be sending that just because then you're going to be the rock country, because he's done that 2 years in a row. Finland has done that for so long, for like 3 years in a row. And, so I don't see anything... I don't think that should disqualify them, or like should be considered, should be anything that people should take under consideration when voting. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else you have to add for Adele that we didn't talk about?
No, I
don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, good. Move on to Ukraine.
Yeah, let's move on to Ukraine. We have results there as well. Vidbir 2018 started today. It was a 20-hour show, the first semifinal, which was just... I'm serious. I mean, it started hours and hours ago. We knew that was Ukraine, right? They always have these really long shows because apparently they have nothing else to do there. 8 songs. I've been to Ukraine. I've been to Kiev. They have plenty of things to do, but they just love to do these shows forever. 8 songs in the running. 3 qualified, and I did my reaction video. In case you haven't seen it yet, check it out. It's pretty different. I see more posts about Montenegro have a shocking result there. I'm falling with Montenegro, but I cannot. Let's focus on Ukraine first before we move on to Montenegro. 3 songs went through, and it was 50 jury percent, 50 televote, and the 3 songs are Yuko, Galnya Guilhela, Maruf, Siren Song. I called it Bang, but before that I called it Bang. Now it's called Siren Song. That one went through, as well as the Brunettes Shoot Blondes, Houston. Those are the 3 qualifiers. Roy, are you surprised? Relieved? Sad?
I'm surprised about one of them. I didn't expect Yuko to go through. Brunette Shoot Blondes is a good song. Maruf is a great producer. I expected those to go through regardless. But Yuko is quite a surprise to me. I thought that Baroma had maybe a bit more of a shot. It was a bit more appealing to me. Yuko was just a bit of a strange song.
Yeah, Yuko... The reason why it went through, for the most part at least, is because of the juries. They put Yuko in first place, and the televoters apparently in 4th place, which is still not horrible, right, out of 4. But ultimately, it's the juries that dragged it into the finals. I personally, when I listened, I did the studio versions. I loved Letai a lot, and that finished in 2nd to last, which is boo. But I didn't get many points from the televoters or the juries. It wasn't, I guess, the greatest live performance. Maruf, I would agree that it's probably a little bit polished than a lot of the other songs. It just feels a little less... It doesn't have a less heart in it, I guess. And it was good, but I think out of the ones it deserved to qualify, I put it in the top 3 in my 3rd place, so I'm okay with it. But absolutely, out of those qualified, Brunettes Shoot Blondes is absolutely my favorite in the running. They finished 2nd with the juries and 2nd with the televoters right now. Maruf won the televote. So I'm thrilled that they are through. Out of the first semi, that's definitely my favorite. What about you, Robert?
Yeah, sadly, I completely agree with you. Houston is also my favourite song there.
Did you say sadly? Sadly,
yes,
you agree with me?
It means I can't make fun of you for your choices, Matt, and that's just part of the reason I come here. Sadly, you're right, it was the best song there, and I really enjoyed that song. I thought it was good, and it was a nice soft feel. It was good, and I'm glad that that's made it through. I was really sad that Hypnotunes didn't make it through. It's quite an insane little package, and oh dear, there we go. Now you can criticise me for my choices, Matt. I just thought it was really nice to see something. It's just completely different, completely bizarre.
Finished last in the televote and the juries.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to criticize the wonderful people of Ukraine, but they're wrong. And I hesitate to criticize Jamala as well, especially, and Verka, and yeah, but they're all wrong. They're wrong. It was a great song. Now, I'm sorry, it's a semi-final. You want your final to be different, you want the variety. That is something different. It's slightly bonkers. Okay, it's completely bonkers, but I like that. It worked just about for me. And sure as heck, it wasn't going to win, but I wish it had got a bit more support, because I'd have just loved to have seen it in the final.
Yeah,
But I'll get everything I want.
Yeah, no, I wasn't into it, and it was really funny because in my reaction video, I was like, I was born in Bethlehem. I'm like, what? Why
Close
is he
enough.
singing like such a scary song, but singing like a religious touch to it, right? And I'm like, oh, he was singing, I was born in death of hell. And I was like, he was thinking Bethlehem, and I was like, I'm so confused why he's going with a religious song but doing this weird sound. I'm like, oh, okay, he's saying death of hell. So that's the only reason I remember that song. Yuko to me was not a good song. I'm just gonna be honest. It really bothered me. The sound of it. My video, my reaction. It really sounded to me like a whiny teenage girl when like, I don't want to go to school and na. Karen is so stupid. Oh my God, look at her hair. It was just like that kind of whiny sound that really was off-putting to me. So I'm not quite sure what the juries saw in it.
Yeah.
But was a very surprising situation. Now, just real quick, go ahead, Roy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I didn't really get that song either. And about the hymn tunes, yeah, it just got lost in both, the jury and Televo. I think that is a bit harsh. I'm not sure if it should have gone through. It wasn't in my top 3, but it doesn't deserve last place.
Yeah, last place is a little harsh. I would agree with that as well. Now, because everyone is talking in the chat right now about Montenegro. Montevizija is going on as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the final. They have 5 songs in the running, and the fan favorite was clearly Andrea Yasamtisan. And she finished, she's out. That's basically what it means. She didn't even make it to the super final. Dimol, Heaven, and Ivana Popovic Martinovic with Nevinost went through to the super final. So one of them is going to represent Montenegro. I'm gonna go first on this one. I wish I could say I was shocked, but I'm not. I'm disappointed that they went down that route because I want Montenegro to do well. But Andrea to me was clearly the only choice that they had to actually succeed. I'm especially surprised that the international jury didn't give her more points. Only 1. The experts gave her 3, and then the radio vote was 3. The televote gave her 0. Nada. They put Andrea in dead last. And that was a shocker to me. I don't know what's going on there, why they would give her so few points. Something like it's the Montenegrins' choice, so you have to respect it. You don't have to like it, but you have to respect it. So at this point, I don't know what to say about Montenegro and the odds in Eurovision. I'm a little worried about them. What do you think, Roy?
Yeah, I think so too. I think the clear favorite to me was Andrea. Was that her name? I think so, right?
Yes.
With the Rocky song. Yeah. My clear favorite was Andrea, and I only had as a backup that would be good the Monika Knezovic with the weird, super long name that you can't pronounce.
Mm-hmm. Good job. So, come on, give me some props.
Okay. Nepogriesivo. Nice. Brilliant. No, those two were the only one that I think had a shot of qualifying. The other ones I didn't really care for too much. I didn't give them too high of notes when I ranked them in my article. So yeah, not too happy.
Robert?
Yeah, much the same. Monica with the name I'm not even going to try and pronounce.
Now you're trying to.
Oh, Neprogesivo. I don't know. Sorry, I probably insulted someone there. I probably just said someone looks like a pig or something in Montenegrin. I really haven't got a clue. I'm really sorry. Yes, that was my favourite. So to see that Stone Cold dead last is a little bit disappointing, shall we say. Yeah, the choices that they've gone with going for the Dimo and Ivana are just like, okay, if you're sure. I mean, at least you guys are happy, because I'm not.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I know people are saying Montenegro is just being Montenegro in the chat, and I think that is probably very accurate. Montenegro, you never know what they're gonna go with, and that's exactly what's happening at this point. It seems to me as it's going to be Demol with Heaven. Um, we knew that this was going to be the televote favorite. I was hoping that the juries would kind of give Andrea the notch here, but clearly that did not happen. So, would you agree that it's probably going to be Demol Heaven at this point, Roy?
I'm not sure if I should say that anymore. Because literally they keep surprising me, and last year was a bit of a surprise as well, honestly. And yeah, I will say it is the favorite.
Isn't it a crazy national final day? It's like everything is just cool.
Yeah.
This is like what just happened. I feel, I wouldn't say numb, but it's like Melodifestivalen, huh? What? Who didn't make it? And then now Montenegro here. I don't even want to look at Sanremo. It's gonna be worse.
Oh God.
Robert, get back to you. Do you think it's going to be Heaven for Montenegro?
You look at the points so far. The final, I think, is all televotes. Televotes have made their preference clear already. I would be gobsmacked if we don't see Heaven at Eurovision this year based on that. And that's sad because that was the worst song in their selection.
Well, I didn't like it. But let's all three of us, let's put our bias aside and be as objective as possible, right? And it's not always easy because we're humans. But let's assume it's going to be Heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Does Heaven have any chance to qualify, looking at like potentially a big jury vote, or could this be potentially just a surprise televote situation? What do you think, Roy?
Well, that's just really up to what is going to come next. All the other songs, maybe it will stand out, maybe it won't. I don't think it will personally, but we can only just really wait and see what the other countries will bring, and from there we can decide if Demo will make it or not.
Well, if
But
we just
I
wait and see,
feel
then we don't have any live streams. So I guess
That is
cancel
true.
by click.
Okay. Okay,
So
then
I
quick
better pick
answer.
the answer,
No.
haven't I?
You're not helping, Roy. No, but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Seriously.
Yeah.
And I think that Demol, or is it Demol? I don't even know how to pronounce that. I think that they may have a chance of getting some jury votes because it's a vocal group, and you know how juries feel about really great vocal performances. So I could see a little
So
bit.
why are they going to vote for that?
What?
Why would they vote for that then? Really great vocal performances. It's not.
Well, I haven't
feels
listened to
like-
them yet. I'm not sure how they're going to sound live, right? How they're going to harmonize.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but if they can't get it right in studio, I don't think they're going to get it right live. I really thought...
I mean, it sounded boring, but I don't think it was like that. The song isn't good, but I don't necessarily think that the harmony sounded that bad.
No, I just think it just feels like multiple songs kind of crushed into one, and it's really difficult to take that and to make it work for the harmonizing, I think. So I admit I haven't heard it live, and I could be about to be proved completely wrong, but I just get the feeling it's not a song that will actually really work very well. And
You don't
clearly,
think the
maybe
jury's going for it at all?
not really. In all honesty, I mean, they've got time to change things. Like, of course, they've got a few months. Things can change. Don't think it's going to be enough. I would be very surprised if Montenegro could make this work as a song, and I would be surprised if this appears anything like near the top, even the top of the non-qualifiers list, to be honest, from their semi. I think that would be a surprise.
Yeah.
They are looking at the low teens here right now.
And they're first in the first half of the first semi-final as well, so that doesn't really help them either, I think.
That is true. That is true. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're going to qualify. If I don't bet, but if I would put money down for them to not qualify. Even, I mean, their best case scenario is really just like something that happened with Malta these past couple of years, where for some reason the jury saw something in the song and put them like in 7th or 8th place, but then the televote will it's just going to sit at the bottom there and will be dragged down for sure. I just don't see this happening. This song was outdated in 2005. So I just don't see a whole lot of vote happening here, but we're just making it sound like they have already won, because certainly that's not the case.
Yeah.
So, but I don't see any. I just don't see Ivana pulling through, and then it's. Man, I really wanted Montenegro to do well this year. I think like other smaller countries like San Marino are like, yes. So Serhat is like popcorn sitting there.
Sipping the tea.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. I mean, that is Serhat down to a T.
I know, less competition. So, but yeah, so I'm definitely disappointed with Montenegro so far. As far as Hungary's concerned, there's still a lot of hope for me, and I think tonight it doesn't matter who's going to qualify from second chance and who went through in this semi. I don't see the winner from Melodifestivalen coming from this semi. Would you guys agree with that as well?
Yes.
Yes.
Totally agree. I think it was a weak semi compared to the first, and I'd be surprised if any of the 4 songs that are still in the competition managed to particularly light up the final scoreboard.
Yeah. I would like to hear from people watching. Is anyone watching? What you call that thing? From Italy, Sanremo. Anyone watching Sanremo in the chat? Let us know if there's anything crazy going on, because we're not watching that right now. But I'm curious. We're not going to wait until the results, because this is going to take forever. So we'll discuss it.
At least.
Yes.
Also, in Iceland, the results are in as well.
Are they in already?
Yeah, they are in already.
Oh, perfect. Let's take a look at them. Let me bring that up.
Hera Björk qualified.
Wait just 1 second. I'm bringing it up right
Spoilers!
Sorry,
we have to cut the video in the right way.
I was excited.
So, the results are in from semi-final 1 in Iceland, from what we're hearing. 5 songs competed, and there will be the top 2 entries decided, a combination of jury and televote, moving on to the final. From what I'm hearing, there will be no wild cards this year. I mean, that has a change. So 3 songs are out, 2 songs are in. And let's go for them real quick here. The first one is Hera Björk. Big name, represented Iceland in 2010. Je ne sais quoi, and she has been the backup singer for Iceland about 29 times. So she's been to Eurovision quite a few times. I think that her last appearance was in 2015 as a backup singer. So she made it through. I don't think it comes as a big surprise. And then the other qualifier is Hatari. And I'm not going to pronounce her name, Hatrio Moonsigra. I know, it's a fan favorite. Unexpected. Everyone's like, wait, everyone likes this song the best? What's going on? So, but clearly there must be something, because Iceland agreed they deserve a spot in the finals. And I can see Giddy Roy already. Why don't you go ahead and share your thoughts?
It was like a bit of the interval act with Sweden, and I just heard that Iceland was starting, and I was just going to look it up real quick, and Hatari was about to start, and it wasn't as good as I had hoped it to be, but it was still incredible. It was still an amazing show, and I'm really glad that it went through.
You know, like, and they're gonna have more the LED screens and all of that stuff in Tel Aviv, so they're gonna have much more to work with. But go ahead.
Yeah, I thought it was quite a cool performance, and yeah, I'm really glad it went through, because it's definitely my favorite in Iceland, and it would definitely make people talk about Iceland again, because I feel like a lot of people started to forget about them with the last couple of entries, and it would really make them the talking point of Eurovision, I
Even
think.
if they don't qualify, right? Even if they flop in the semis, it'll be definitely something that will be on people's radar. It will be talked about. It'll be in the media. And sometimes that is a lot, especially for an act that comes from a country that doesn't have a big music market or that kind of exposure. That's like, you know, you can't ask for more, except, of course, qualifying and then winning. But you get my point. What about you, Robert? What do you think?
I have to agree with Roy there. I think Atari had a good song, and it is something really different for Iceland, a very different direction for them to take, and perhaps that would be good for them in a sense. I mean, I will say I prefer Hera Björk's entry, and I think that she has done a great job with it. and I'd love to see her back at Eurovision. But I do have to agree, I think it would be a lot more in line with what we've seen from Iceland over the last few years. Maybe, given their results, they do need that kind of little kick up the backside, shall we say. And I think that Hatari could be the ones to kick them up the backside. There's a lot going on around the song, around the artists, and it'll be interesting to see how that reflects in Israel. I mean, I don't obviously not going to go into huge amounts of detail at the moment, given our focus on the qualifiers from the semis. But obviously, Israel is, by its very nature, a country that maybe arouses a little more controversy than other countries hosting Eurovision. And as a result, this is potentially, Hatari has made it clear that they are, maybe it's a bit of a reaction to that fact. So I can imagine that there'll be some faces at the EBU just hoping that, fine, they're in the final. Let's not see them in Tel Aviv, thank you very much. But who knows? It could certainly, we enjoy the drama. We like to see things go, maybe a little bit wrong and see what happens. So, yeah, I think we'd be talking a lot more about Iceland with Hatari than we would do with Iceland with Hera. But I think they would do better to send Hera.
I'm not sure. I think I think they're the total opposites. I think they kind of cancel each other out, because I do think that Hatari could potentially get a lot of points from the televoters in Tel Aviv, and then crashes and burns with the juries. And with Hera Bjork, I see the opposite. With her beautiful voice, and she just owns the stage, right? She's such a flawless performer. The juries will love it, but I think the song isn't strong enough melodically that that the televoters will go for it. It reminds me a little bit more of like Breathlessly from Malta with it's just Claudia Fabi. It just doesn't really grab you to be like excited about, and I feel as it could suffer a similar fate as that song. So I think it really comes down to, what will happen in the finals. I think these two will battle it out with different groups. I think they're like the polar opposites. That's, I guess, how I can describe it.
Yeah, I feel like Hera Bjork's song is just not good enough. If you see Je ne sais quoi, it was really, and she could really just use her voice to a great extent. And I feel like in this song, she's more caged, maybe, if you want to call it like that. She can't really go all out with her voice, and I feel like melodically it's not as good as Je ne sais quoi was. So
yeah, I would agree it's not as strong as that, but I don't think many artists return to Eurovision with a stronger energy than they first went with. And I still think it's, for me personally, and I can already see people disagreeing with me in the chat. Sorry, for me personally, that is my favourite song of the selection, and purely on selfish motivation, I would like to see that in...
Well, that's how it goes. I don't... You see, of course I want to do well, but I'd rather have a song that I love, and even if it doesn't do as well, I think that is just a fairly normal and thing to say or do, so you don't have to apologize for that. So,
I'm British. I have to apologize to everything.
Okay, well...
I'm sorry, Matt.
That is true. You're forgiven. So Iceland, I think, out of all the ones tonight, the shows, when I say predictable, it's actually a good thing in that sense. Like the favorites that we thought would be there would go through. I think Hera Bjork and Hatari were the two favorites in the semi, and they did go through. So they were kind of, okay, let's just go with what feels right. Let's not go crazy like Sweden and Hungary and Montenegro and Ukraine for that matter, and let's just focus on getting the good songs to the next round. What else am I missing?
Yeah, nothing really.
I'm pretty sure Lithuania's got something going on, but I think Lithuania's got something going on pretty much every night for about 3 months, so...
Yeah, so for them, I feel as we have to wait until the very end. So anyone in the chat, any questions, feel free to ask them. Unpopular opinion, the best Melfest entry is Lisa IX 2016. I don't remember that one. Is that the one I don't give a F? I don't give a, I don't give a, I don't give a, could be that one.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, definitely an unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I also like the fact that Hatari didn't make an English version. That is right, most acts did an English version. Do you think that Hera would perform hers in English at Eurovision? If she were to win?
Probably. I mean, I don't know. I mean, she's already performed in French, I suppose, so... it'd be an interesting one. I think she'd probably stick to English, given the general trend with Icelandic songs and the fact that they've made an English version. Kind of implied, because is it not the case they still have to do the Icelandic for the semi-finals? So if they've bothered to make an English version, that kind of implies that as soon as they can, they're going to switch. They didn't have to make it.
Yeah. I think she will sing it in English, and I think that would be the wrong choice. And I'm not one of those language snobs, like everyone has to sing in on. No, I'm not that kind of person. But I do feel that song would lose a lot of its uniqueness, because I don't feel the song is very unique from the get-go. The language itself adds a little bit more of another layer to it, so it would make me a little nervous if she were to sing in English, because I feel as all the magic is gone to the average ear. Okay, so there come the questions coming in. Have you listened to the Sanremo songs? Roy and I had the Matitude conversation earlier. I'll upload the video as well separately, but we listened to them and we shared our thoughts and predictions accordingly. So you can check that out. The Matitude live stream is up already for that. Are you doing a post show after Sanremo? Everyone will be asleep after Sanremo. How long? That show is going to be on for at least another 2-3 hours, I would assume.
Yeah.
That's usually. So I don't think we're going to do. I'll probably do just a video and upload it. Only because we have done already 2 shows today. There's only so much we can do. Some are saying there is Lithuania results. Well, report back to us so we'll know. What's going on, I guess, because no one of us has really.
I found them already.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I guess you want to cut that off again.
Nobody really knows what happens in Lithuania. Yeah. I don't even think they know. I think they're pretty sure they make up the rules as they go along, to be honest. But
true.
So Florian Preda says Bella Santiago versus Laura Breton. The final is almost here. Who do you want to win? Did you guys listen to the Romanian songs?
Yes, I did.
Not yet, no.
No, you're not.
No, not yet.
Huh?
I agree.
Not yet, no.
Not yet. So you agree with this assessment of Florian Preda? Because I do too.
Yeah, but I would also give a bit of a shout out to the 2 gents with Lelele. I think that is a really cool, catchy song. I don't think it should win, but I really like this song just to listen to in general. But yeah, it will be between those 2 who will go to Eurovision.
Yeah, I heard like a conflicting information because my initial thought was, well, it's Bella Santiago. Granted, there is an international jury that could mess things up, right? But from the televote, I would think that Bella Santiago would just win because she just won. Was it The Voice or The X Factor? I always mix these shows up. I think it was The Voice, X Factor. I don't remember. It was something like that, one of these shows. And she is fresh of that show, so in everyone's mind, very popular, very talented. So my guess is that she would win the televote, but then with Romania, you never know. Laura Breton, actually, people, I mean, they don't know her well here in the United States, but she was on America's Got Talent several years ago. And I actually remember her now when I watched the clip. Oh, that's her. I remember watching the clip online. I'm like, oh, okay, that's really cool to have an American taking part in Romania. We got to represent here. I think, though, she could pull it off as well. So I would agree with that assessment, just like Roy and you just said.
Yeah.
Elias Ilonen says Il Volo should win. The 2 of us talked earlier, Roy, about this. What do you think, Robert? I haven't heard your opinion on Sanremo.
That's because I haven't listened to anything from Sanremo. I liked Il Volo in 2015, but again, Italy has so much depth and talent and everything else that I feel just sending Il Volo again would be a little bit of a cop-out. I mean, when you're somewhere like San Marino and you've got a choice of about 3 people to send to Eurovision, I'm kind of cool with you repeating your artists a bit. But Italy, come on, guys. You can, I'm sure their song will be brilliant because they are an excellent trio, but it would be really great to see someone fresh, someone new to Eurovision going along for them. And so on that basis alone, I hope that they don't win, or at least I hope that they don't go. But I might change my mind on hearing the songs if it is my favourite, I will admit.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I personally mean both Roy and I agree it is not anywhere near as strong as Grande Amore. It's their vocal to really make that song shine. The other one, it's similar in style what they do, but it's just melodically not quite, the orchestration just not as powerful and as dramatic as Grande Amore. and I don't think it would go as far at Eurovision. And it's not even the favorite, as somebody pointed out. There, Ultimo is on top of the list, and Irama. Those are the two songs that are currently trending crazy everywhere on YouTube and on social media. And I pointed out earlier, I don't get either of them. I just got to be honest. If I had to pick between, I guess Ultimo. But
Shame on you.
I know. But again, the Irama thing comes the same thing. The spoken word stuff just doesn't.
Yeah.
It just
I get it.
Doesn't work. Somebody said Il Volo will be murdered by the press jury, but their fans may help them like they did in 2015. We shall see. We shall see. I don't know the answer to that. It's all about Il Volo now in the chat. Also way too cheesy. Yeah.
I can see.
Yeah. ESC SW says we still don't have results in Montenegro.
No.
Doesn't surprise me. In the end, does it matter at this point?
We're not going to be happy with the winner, let's face it, guys.
I know,
so,
we're not gonna be happy anyway.
just
It's
resign ourselves to the result.
I know. What do you think Montenegro needs to do in Eurovision? Do you think they need to stick with the national final system? Should they just go back to internal selection? What is their way out of this current rut that they're in?
I mean, that's such a difficult question to answer because, like, some countries' national selections. Look at France in the last few years. Since they switched to national selections, they've been taking things a lot more seriously in the wake of Amir. It's been doing really well. They've gone really popular, and they've started sending things which have been, which have met with a decent reaction from across Europe. But then you look at the UK, who switched to doing national finals recently, and look at the amazing improvement it had for us in result. Oh wait. So it's in a way, I don't think it's the difference between a national final and an internal selection is minimal. At the end of the day, a national final is an internal selection where they've just said we can't decide between this top 6, 10, 15. They've always whittled down the numbers from 300 odd anyway. So I think that's the stage at which you need to look, and it needs to be instead the actual broadcaster's approach to it. Taking again the UK as an example, the BBC have been criticised quite frequently for their approach, and I myself have said that I don't really like the way that they just keep picking X Factor losers. And I will admit I don't know as much about how Montenegro is going about selecting their songs, but maybe that's the kind of thing that they need to look at, is how they approach it, going out there, getting the talent, approaching people, or they're letting people approach them. It's, maybe that's the way they need to look at it. In a way, maybe an internal selection where they really focus on it would actually help them to get, kind of get themselves back on track. But just saying internal selection, I don't think is an answer in itself.
Well, that may be true. I mean, again, in the end, if Montenegro wants to send a certain song that they like, then send it. And if it doesn't bring the results at Eurovision, at least you pick the song that you think is the best. And with Heaven, I think that'll be the case. They just really like that kind of music, apparently, in Montenegro. And to us, it just doesn't work. But that's what they want to send. So, should we just look at it from how they're going to qualify from the semis, or should they just worry about what they like? It's just because when they did qualify, those were internal selections. And granted, they were both Balkan ballads, so that is usually what they can do well with. So I don't know exactly the answer to that either, what makes most sense. But just looking at today's outcome, and again, it comes from a place of subjectivity because, it's music, right? But the fact that the televoters put Andrea in dead last out of everything that was in there, it's just so mind-blowingly shocking to me that this would be absolutely the last place. I just couldn't understand that.
I think Felix R in the chat makes a really good point there. The same as Cyprus, giving an internal selection after a sequence of national finals gives us Fuego, and look at how well that went. And I think that's an example of, they went back a bit to the basics. They looked at what they could do. They got someone in. They worked really hard, and they got a song that did exceptionally well. I'm not a fan of it myself, so please don't think this is me being biased for the song. I just think that they made an effort. They pulled everything together, and maybe that's the example that Montenegro should take. It's not to say always go internal selections, but maybe just to kind of re-establish themselves on the Eurovision scene.
Yeah.
And just switch it up.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just to switch it up a bit. It's always good to just try something new if your original thing isn't working anymore. The Netherlands also did that. We always had the national song contest, we called it, and then we had a lot of times where we didn't qualify, and then we switched to internal selection as well, and then all of a sudden we qualified nearly every year.
Yep.
So yeah, maybe it can help Montenegro as well.
I think so too. And Olivia MacArthur makes a really good point in the chat. Maybe they should try an internal selection, but use a songwriting camp like Ireland's Nucleus from last year. I think that they just need to get like a songwriting camp and just a very competent group of people in there, and just switch up whoever is handling this right now. And I'm sure I understand that their budgetary restraints maybe prevent them from going super crazy. But there are people who want to work at Eurovision and want to provide work. Look at San Marino; they just export everything, for obvious reasons, because they have 27 people living in the country. But the point is, you can get help from outside if you need to, if you want to. Yeah. So you need to look at it. Do we just want to do our own thing and results are secondary, and we just want to, do our Eurovision thing and show our music, and if it's not good enough for Eurovision, so be it? Or should they really just focus on, let's get us back to the finals, let's blow everyone away? And you just have to figure out what is more important, and that is how I look at it, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep. Good approach.
Yeah. So in the end, I'm just refreshing. We still don't have any results in Montenegro, so I don't want to just drag this out just for the sake of waiting for the results, because in the end, we don't really care anyway. Any final thoughts, everyone? Roy, can I start with you?
Crazy night, I guess. The only really predictable things were Iceland and, well, for me, Hungary, but a lot of people didn't see some non-qualifiers coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, a crazy night of Eurovision, and it was a lot of Eurovision as well.
That's why we love it. That's why we love it, right? We don't want to have predictability. Robert.
Yeah, it feels like almost tomorrow morning will be a bit of a break for me. It feels like I've just been listening to Eurovision National Final since the UK, and then Australia this morning, and now into this quite crazy evening of National Finals. It just feels like it's never stopped. It's been great fun. I have to agree with Roy. There have been some really quite ridiculous results. I mean, on a selfish front, I'm quite happy. I got my favourite through pretty much everywhere. Montenegro accepted, but we've gone over that quite in depth. I think a decent evening for me. Some surprises, some songs I hoped wouldn't make it that haven't made it, and some that I hoped wouldn't make it and have done better than my favourites.
And when I listen to you talk right now, I actually agree with you, because I'm more like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. The fan favorite here's out. This did happen. But in the end, my favorites are still in as well. So I should be actually pleased, right? In Sweden, I'm like, I don't care that much anyway this week. I care. I mean, I don't want to think that I don't care about Melodifestivalen. There are plenty of good songs in there. Just this week was kind of like, to me. So didn't feel as strongly about it anyway. Hungary, clearly my two favorites are still in the running. So I'm very happy. In Iceland, my favorite is still in the running. And I'm hearing, and either of you, have you listened to the second semifinal in Ukraine yet?
No, second. No.
Yeah, the second semifinal.
Oh, the songs. No.
That's fine, because I haven't either. I'm just asking because people tell me all the time that the winner is in the second semi. So we have to wait and see. So that is, of course, once again subjective, but it seems like more the common kind of situation here. Yeah, and the Montenegro, obviously, that's the only one where I'm just like, bummer.
Yeah.
But
well, apparently we have got some results in terms of finding out that some viewers have won a 5-night trip to Tel Aviv for Eurovision. Because some viewers in Montenegro have apparently won a trip to Tel Aviv. So, that's great. Great result.
Nice.
We might have an answer by, tomorrow, if we're lucky. It seems like they just, it's just really amusing how some countries make their national finals last forever.
I know. It's so different. That's what I love about Sweden. Like bang, bang, bang. Here's a
Yeah,
song,
that's
Yeah.
la 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 la. And you know, people always, and I feel bad for Sweden in a sense because everyone's picking on them all the time. Oh, their songs have gotten so bad. They always send the overproduced music, blah 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 blah. Right? Like Sweden, boo boo boo. But their every song looks so different on stage. They're doing an amazing job with the
Yeah.
staging. You're not, even if you don't like the songs, you're still entertained, and that says a
Yeah.
lot. Even like as I said, I didn't like many of the songs today. I still enjoyed the show because I'm like, oh, that's a
Yeah.
cool effect. That's a cool this. That's a cool that. You know, flying trash bags with Liamo, you know, and all of that stuff. It was a
Bed sheets. Bed sheets.
oh, bed sheets. They look like trash bags to me. So that's to me, and they're so effective in getting that stuff done, and you don't just
Yes.
wait. And I love that. And I guess cultures are different in every place, and I give the UK that as well. Yesterday, Robin
Yeah.
and I, we talked about it. On
Yeah.
point,
To,
like
to
let's
get
not waste
through
any crowd.
9 songs, effectively. I mean, because of the fact that we heard the super finalists again, we got through 9 songs and results in 90 minutes. Like, 90 minutes in Montenegro, you're on song 3.
Yeah.
90 minutes in Ukraine, you're still listening to Jamal's analysis of the first song. It's just like, just get on with it, for goodness sake.
It's very, very
Yeah.
interesting. I picked on the UK a lot because of the music, right? But when they do a
It's
show,
easy.
it's good. Yeah, it's easy because you know because we know what they're capable of. If this was Montenegro, we would have been like, that's reasonable. Do you know what I mean? We're like, that's a reasonable song selection, but with UK, we just expect more, and it sucks sometimes when
Yeah.
you put a higher standard. But it's also just it's UK. We expect more from you. But
Yes.
given that it was a very well executed show, and we got it the same with Sweden, and some other countries could learn from that.
Yeah, I mean, Sweden is crazy about Melodifestivalen. I read online that out of the 10 million people that live in Sweden, 3 million watched the first semi-final, and that is just insane that nearly a third of your country watches your semi-final.
Yeah.
Imagine
I
that
still-
in Germany, in the United States, we had like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, even in the UK, I mean, that would be 20 million people in the UK, and like nothing gets that kind of viewing figures in the UK anymore.
That would be 120
but yeah,
million
I-
in the United States.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, no, I met some. I was in France in 2015, and it was like the summer, so a good few months, and there were some Swedish people staying at the same place I was at, and we were chatting about Melodifestivalen. Never met them before. It was months after the show, and we were still discussing the songs. It's such a big thing for them, and that's really great to see. It's a shame that other countries can't, you know, take that example a little bit more strongly and actually make their selection something that is. I mean, I suppose Italy has it, you know, with the Sanremo being such a big thing, Albania with Festival Kengas and all that. But
Australia right
as
now.
well, but it's a little different there as well, yeah.
yeah.
But you know,
So
some countries
it's-
like France maybe has found their groove. Adal is now this thing in Hungary that's very popular. So it seems as more, and we have the Danish ones and the Norwegian one. They have their only one show per year, but they have their shows, right? Just not
Yes.
as elaborate as far as like the number of shows
Yeah.
and songs are concerned.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, by the way, Julian BCH says, not that anyone here cares in the chat, but Canada will broadcast Eurovision this year. That's a pretty big deal. You know,
Yeah, that's
Canada's
big.
been doing that since 2016 on the wonderful Logo channel that about 16 people watch. But hey, it's a
Right.
start. And now that Canada is broadcasting it, maybe more viewers are coming in. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, they've had a Canadian winner, more or less. So,
No,
Yeah,
no,
few
yeah,
actually.
that's true. And I
Few.
think she went on to do great things, right? She was pretty successful.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
had a career afterwards, I think.
How do you pronounce her name again? Salina.
was it Emily the Forest?
Emily de Forest. Celine Dion.
She's also Canadian, so yeah.
Emily de Forest?
Yeah, I think she was Canadian, right?
I don't think she was. Was she?
I think she had something with Canada to do with Canada, but I could be wrong with that. I'm the newbie out of all of you, so.
And we'll also do a quick shout out to Florian, because Florian has correctly pointed out he was the first person to mention that Canada is broadcasting Eurovision this year. Thank you very much, Florian. Yes, you were the first one to post.
Oh,
We
yes,
should
I
credit
did
you
see
with that.
Sorry, Flora. I just saw that
Yes.
pop out. Yeah, it goes with the eyes. On the
Yes, indeed.
OMNI channel, I've never heard of that. Because again, I don't live in Canada. I haven't been. It's so sad. Like I travel all everywhere. Now to Europe, to Israel. Now, never been to Canada. It's not even that far. Heck, I'm like about 2 hour drive from Mexico. Still haven't been to Mexico. So I
Wow.
gotta work on that. I gotta work on that. Anyway, so I don't. Before we head out, there's no Montenegro update yet, right?
Not yet. No,
I see someone saying Andrea in Montenegro. Bloody Star says that, but maybe that's that she's in the super final. I don't know.
Andrea,
But-
she's like, we're just kidding. She did win. That would be
I think
Alright,
that makes a
so
lot
different
of people
song,
quite
yeah.
happy.
Yes. Okay, I saw that question earlier, so I don't wanna ignore Gucci Gucci because the name is awesome. Poland will release their song on February the 15th. What are your opinions? So my first opinion is, now that you answer, is weren't they supposed to announce it a couple of days ago, and then they were like, oh no, we're gonna push it out for another week. So I'm just really curious if they had someone and that person was like, never mind, I'm gone, I'm out. Or if they were like, you know what, I want to send a different song. I don't want this one. So I think something like this happened. One of those two options, I think. But of course, I'm very intrigued by what Poland will come up with. I'm sad that they don't have a national final, but I still want Poland to do well because I am Polish, in case you did not know. I mean, I'm German, but 71 or 61% of my blood is Polish, so I'm one of you. I'm one of you.
Oh, we apparently have Montenegro result. Montenegro Demol has won in a major shock.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Call me LA Times here. Hello. Is D Mall for Montenegro?
Yes.
Remember Trump pushing him aside? That country. That's all people know, because people know Montenegro now in America. Just because Trump pushed the Montenegrin president aside when he wanted to get in front to get a picture. I'm sure you guys heard about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of
that's
memes
all.
every day.
Everyone knows Montenegro here now. So, like, hey, at least you're known for being pushed around. That's not necessarily what you want to be known for. Terrible thing.
Nice.
Okay, what happened with the Russia song? When is the announcement? We'll get more information soon, but it was announced, obviously, that Sergei Lazarev is returning to Eurovision and that he's going to have a completely different song and a completely different approach. So do not expect You Are the Only One 2.0, because that's not what's going to happen. And I'm glad about that. I'm glad. I don't want to have, like, okay, that worked last time, let's come up with a copycat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's much better when people who've done well at Eurovision come back with a song that's totally different to the first one they sent, which is why I loved Alexander Rybak last year. Sorry, not sorry.
You liked it?
Yes.
I'm in favor of sending. I didn't want another fairy tale, right? But I still
No.
don't like that song at all. But
Oh.
I get your sentiment here. I totally get your
Yes.
sentiment.
I get your point, but Alexander Rybak's song, no. It was just going back to.
Renata. Yes, I am Polish. I mean, I was always German, but both of my grandparents are from Poland. I didn't know. I knew my grandmother was, but I didn't know like most of them were. So I'm also 10% Swedish. I just did that heritage test, and I'm doing another one right now. Apparently, I'm like about 10% Swedish as well. So I'm one of you as well, ish. Have you guys done the test, like the heritage test? What blood you have?
No.
My mum has done family history going back about 200 years. I'm from Yorkshire. That's it.
Wow. But
Nice.
what about
Like-
you have other, like your father's side, like there's like Moldova.
Oh yeah, that's from Yorkshire as well.
Wow. So you're Yorkshire, and where do
Yup.
you live now?
Scotland.
Yeah. So, see.
Yeah, I'm the real foreigner in my family. Like, I live 200 miles away from everybody else, and that is by far the furthest away from the rest of the family that anyone lives.
But that's true,
yeah.
because I remember meeting like some local folks up from that area, and I'm like, so are you from this area? And they're like, oh no, we're not from here. We live like 5 miles away. And like, because for them it's like, it's like that's your area, and you don't really leave that when you live in a very more rural area often, unless you have that one. Because I grew up in a very rural area as well as a kid, and my entire family stayed there as well, and then just me going all the way. And so it's I'm more like you, but of course, instead of 200 miles, I went 6,000 miles. So it's slightly
Well,
different.
one day I might do the 5,000 miles, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see, right? Okay, so also the
Oh, Shannon, you were getting on so well. Shannon 0893 has just said she's from Lancashire, and for those of you who don't know, imagine the rivalry between Greece and North Macedonia, but amplify it by about 10, and that's the Lancashire-Yorkshire rivalry.
Really?
Yes.
That's
There was
controversial.
even rivalry going on. Everyone loves the Dutch, though, right, Roy? We
Oh,
all get along,
everybody.
except the
Well,
Frisians.
at least everybody loves me, but no, no. There's a bit of a rivalry. Like I'm from the northern province called Groningen, and we have a bit of a rivalry with the Frisians. But for the rest, I think you only really have Amsterdam versus Rotterdam, the big two cities, but not much more than that, I think.
Yeah. No, it's very fascinating. So I love that kind of stuff. Somebody's saying those tests are not very accurate. I don't believe that. It's not true because I did my test and they had no information on me. I had to spit in this little bottle and send it in, and they knew exactly where my family was from, and I could confirm that because I knew my family's from an area in Poland called Pomerania, and exactly they pinpointed. And my grandfather was apparently from that area as well, and then their parents and so on as well. So of course it can only go so far back, but they knew exactly the area. It's a small area in Poland where I was from. So I was like, whoa, that is creepy that you figured that out just because of my little spittle in the bottle. So it was just fascinating to me. All right. So any final comments now that we know the winner in Montenegro?
Why?
Demo,
Why? Yeah, no, I'm done.
Let's
Yeah,
all sing.
I said everything.
Heaven, I'm in heaven. No, I'll keep falling out of heaven or something like that. It's like very generic lyrics that any English speaker. You don't even have to be a native speaker. It can be a second language, and you still kind of like, this is what you wrote. Straight into your heart, I'm in falling from heaven. It's like, oh my god.
Well, the fact that you, as the big Eurovision nerd, don't even remember how the song goes is like kind of a testament of how good the song really is.
I know, and I remember everything.
Yeah.
Except when I forget the name of shows. Robert made really fun of me because we were going to record the British video yesterday. And I was like, okay, and here's... What's the name of the show again, Robert? I forgot the name of the British show. So, but the reason why that is because I was just listening to Australia, and it's called Australia Decides.
Yeah.
That's what it was called, Robert. That's my thing, and I got mixed
Yes,
up with Australia
I
Decides
know.
and You Decide. So that's why I got mixed up with the show.
I just wish you'd started saying the British national final, Australia decides. Oh dear, I've broken Matt. Sorry, people. All 7 of you who are his fans, I'm really sorry.
Yeah. Luckily, a song in Lithuania called Control Alt Delete has qualified. So
Welcome to the British national final. I don't even know that funny. I don't know why I'm laughing so much. My apologies for the unprofessional behavior here.
Please send help to Matt.
If you hadn't noticed for like the last hour and a half, I mean...
I'm snorting now too. All right.
Nice.
So anyway, my apologies. that was
Different.
that would have been really cool. But no, I just remember there was something about Decide, and my brain was just not quite there. I was thinking then Australia. Anyway, that's my excuse for the day.
Okay.
So yeah, so we have Montenegro. So how many songs do we have now? So we have the 5 songs from yesterday. Then we have Australia today, Montenegro, and we'll get Italy, right?
Yeah, that's 8 then.
So we have 8 songs after today. So
Yeah.
do you think we have the? Well, we don't know what. But I don't think the winner is from Italy. Do you think we have heard the Eurovision winner yet?
No.
I really
I think we'll have to wait for it. Yeah.
I'm not a massive fan of any of the songs that we've got so far, so if we have heard the Eurovision winner already, oh dear.
I think the biggest contender.
But last, I'm sorry, what?
I think the biggest contender would be the UK.
Really?
No, I was like, that was good sarcasm there. That was very dry.
Worried for a minute.
There are a bunch of songs I do like, but if anyone followed me last year, I was a huge fan of the year 2018 songs, right? There's so many good songs, so many diverse genres, and I was like, this is what Eurovision should be all about. Now, we're currently 7 songs into it. I don't feel quite as strongly about this year just yet. We still have ways to go, right? So there's still hope. But I would also say it's a slightly slower start. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah. I think so. I mean, I don't want to abandon all hope just yet.
No.
You know,
last year we also had to wait quite long until we had the Eurovision winner. It was like nearly towards the end that Israel finally released their song, and that we finally had something like, oh wow, this could actually win.
Actually,
and before that,
yeah, because Cyprus was also released fairly late in the game, the song. So there was another one that then was pretty popular. Was not right away, and a lot of the favorites were released later in the game. That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. So the biggest contender, in my opinion, according to Olivia, is Spain. If it gets a great revamp, then it may actually have a chance. I still don't. I mean, I like the song, right? I love La Vena Yacayo. I don't know what they're saying. I'm just making up the sound. But I don't still think it's going to. I don't think the jurors will embrace it as much. That's just my.
No, I don't think you should revamp it either. I think it is just great for Televo the way it is. It's just a nice, innocent party song, and it's not going to win Eurovision or anything. It's just fun to have the way it is.
And when I say revamp, I don't think it needs a complete revamp, but I do feel as they need to add a few more instruments. Just make it a little louder, because it's not loud enough. The instruments, the trumpets need to be a little bit more prominent. That kind of stuff I'm looking for. But I don't think they need to reinvent the wheel. They just need to up the orchestration. I guess that's what I'm hoping for. What about swapping Australia and UK for Big Five? Australia has sent better songs in the 5 years than UK in a decade, few exceptions. Well, I don't think that's really how it works with the Big Five. If we're up to results, that would be a different story. If like the top 5 automatically qualified to the finals, I mean that would be kind of a different story. But it's all about must be the money. That's just how the cookie crumbles. So sorry, Roy, that you live in the Netherlands and have to worry about it every single year while Robert and I can be like, what else? See you in the final.
Yeah. Final. Yeah. Every single year, it doesn't matter what we send, we're in that final.
We'll never be completely in last place, because we always, worst case scenario, 26th place, not 42nd place.
Hey.
We're just being a bit here right now.
UK has had worse results than the Netherlands the last couple of years, so don't bash on me for that.
Oh, Germany had a great result. Both UK and Germany has more of a roller coaster ride. The UK just mostly is like, it's like, oh wait. Wow. Germany.
How many last places have you had in the last 2 years, Germany? Sorry, can we just remind ourselves?
But it's like, look at that. We have like first place, 10th place, 8th place, last place, last place. It's just like, it's a little bit more insane with us.
I mean, the UK even getting top 10 would be considered like miraculous, I think, at the moment, given how our entries have been in the last few years, last decade or so. But yeah,
it was very interesting. I'm not sure if you read some of the comments, Roy. But, what was I going to say? My brain just went blank. It's gone.
Something about comments on a stream we did, or
I wanted to make a connection. It's gone right now.
Okay.
Something about
the Netherlands doing poorly and then good, or
no, I remember. Thank you.
Nice.
It's funny because people were like, because both Robert and I wouldn't say. I mean, we weren't crazy about the winning song from the UK, and I think 24 years later, that's still the case. Have you changed your mind?
Definitely.
But the point is, people were like, you are being so negative. We'll definitely get like something good. So I expect 15th place. I'm like, okay, now we're in a place where a 15th place is considered a success. Being high up on the right side of the scoreboard is considered wee.
Basically, we just pretend that the left side of the scoreboard doesn't exist, and that only the right side. So the higher up we get on that, that's it. So if we end up top of the right side, that we've won. Basically, we've won.
Basically, right. They just cut it out like a screenshot.
Yes. Have you not seen how the BBC does the Eurovision final portrayal? We just only have the right-hand side of the scoreboard.
Well, London 2020, I guess, then.
Yeah, well, Sterling, actually, I was hoping for, but...
I just remember even last year, I was surrounded by a lot of UK people, and everyone was just screaming and celebrating when Surrey didn't come last. That was like such an exciting
God
for them. They were like, yeah, 24th in your face. It was really funny.
Yes. But hey, look, I would say it makes it easier for us to celebrate, but given how badly we do, it doesn't always.
That is right. I'm going to be also real for a moment, and it's unfortunate that the UK isn't doing well. We can talk about for hours about how the BBC doesn't get it and all that stuff, right? But it's really because the worse you do, the worse the reputation of the contest is in the United Kingdom. Even though it's still really bad, it's still watched by so many people. But it's all shame-based, right? You lock your door, hide yourself under the blanket, and watch it with a flashlight, right? And don't tell anyone that you're watching Eurovision, because that's like, oh, you're such a loser. And I make a cartoon of it, but it's true. I think UK needs really just a couple of good results in a row, right? Like two years or so, and people would come out and be super supportive of the contest because they just need to do well.
We would come out to the closet.
Yeah,
Mom,
it's like you
Dad, I've got some news. I'm a Eurovision fan.
Where did we go wrong?
Send him off to the camps.
We still love you, sir. We still
Reset.
love you.
Yes, exactly.
Lily, and now we're not making fun of the UK because we all want them to do well. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Lily loves is saying the UK's problem is that their songs are meh at best, and the locals just bitch about how Europe hates them and talk shit about the contest and does nothing to improve their results.
Yep,
makes sense.
As a Brit, you're right.
Well, the biggest thing for me is that UK has so many people living in it, and the music scene in the UK is so diverse. And then when you see a national final like we had this year, it was all quite similar to each other. I think that's just such a big bummer and really a missed opportunity.
I'm looking forward. I'm still waiting. UK 2020 entry. I want to see bagpipes. I'm living in Scotland now, so why not? I want to see bagpipes, I want to see comedy. We haven't done either, well, unless you count Scooch, I suppose, in years, and I think it would be really great to see just something that's totally different, that we can just be like, it's funny, it's daft, because you know what? That does do well sometimes at Eurovision. Maybe not the win, but as I say, right now, top 10 would be a win.
Yeah, it would stand out, right? I know we make fun of the bagpipes, the Scottish thing, but it's true. It would be something local, something traditional, and something you don't get to hear as much at Eurovision. It would feel more authentic if it's done right. Because right now we have all these, you always refer to them, as X Factor rejects kind of thing. But even if the sound is also that X Factor, let's release one single after our run on the show and see how it goes. And that is the issue that they have. They send these very similar songs. Now, Lucy had a good song, won't deny that, and she had a fantastic voice. But other than that, it seems to be always just that, slightly below average radio-friendly music. And that just doesn't work at Eurovision.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Question here. I know I said we're not going to go too long on this chat, but it's fun and people seem to like it. Israel had the same bad vibes for many years, and it became shame, and interest was lost until Golden Boy qualified, and interest was restored until finally a win. That is absolutely right, because from 2011 to 2014 they didn't qualify, right? And then especially in 2011 Dana International did not qualify. I think that would probably took a big hit. Roy, especially for you, because you came from you're in a country that is doing really well at Eurovision but used to suck for the longest time, right? I'm just being fair. How was Eurovision handled at that point? Was it like
yeah, people started losing interest, but I kind of feel the same. Yeah, people just kind of lost interest, and I kind of feel like we're now gaining a bit of interest again. But it just really depends. If one year we have a bad or a worse result than top 10, really, then people will bash it really much. And then the next year we are not as excited about entry as the previous, usually. Like right now, our entry is getting quite a lot of flack for being such an unknown artist and for being such an odd choice after we had Waylon and we had Anouk and whatnot.
I saw that.
But
Because just to add onto that, I did an announcement video, like a video, hey, this is, he's representing the Netherlands. And it was fairly just like, energetic, this who he is, I'm very curious about what he's going to do. And so many dislikes on that video. I'm like, I didn't say anything controversial or mean, but there seems to be a lot of, is it really like people are not really happy with the choice because he's not well known?
Yeah, that's definitely the choice. A big opinion in the Netherlands is that you do well if you send a good name because they know how to make quote-unquote good
It happened
music.
twice with the Kamlanets and Anouk, I guess, right? That's what they're
Yeah, exactly. And because he is not known, people think it will be bad. And, the only real things of him singing live are from his time at X Factor or The Voice of Holland, whatever it was. And back then he wasn't as good as he is right now. He studied at the rock school in southern Netherlands. And, he graduated from that. He's now a vocal coach, so he's definitely a lot better at singing. But a lot of people just don't really want to see what he's going to bring. But I think he'll prove a lot of people wrong here.
Yeah, I think so too. I feel bad. He seems like a perfectly nice guy, and I think he seems pretty talented as well. I do love, again, I didn't hear much about his voice. There's a lot of potential there. So I'm just really curious what it is. I'm withholding judgment till I hear the song. And if it sucks, then I will go, you will know. But until then.
Actually, what Jeffrey says in the chat is really true. We really care about vocals. Like, we were, quote unquote, shocked when OG did as bad as they did. And yeah, and in my opinion, it was already far above what we should have gotten because, it's not a televote song. And to be honest, it wasn't really a good song. They just sung it really, really well.
I love this song. It's my favorite.
But that's probably because they harmonized so well. And the production of the song was just quite basic. It wasn't something outstanding. And it's just, Netherlands is just a bit weird. We just need to get into it a bit more, I feel like.
Yes. Maybe once you win and you host it, that often changes things a lot. Because in Portugal, there's now this huge new interest in the contest. It was very, very interesting to see that. And Israel, they've been big Eurovision fans anyway. It kind of happened. Austria happened the same thing. They won and went all crazy there. And now they all love Eurovision to this day. And they're doing way better now as well. So it's just
same with Germany from last year, I think, right? Same with Germany from last year, I think, right? Because
Germany, the contest also had a really bad reputation until 2010 when we won. And since then, we actually finally also changed because in Germany, they still called it the Grand Prix. I'm like, no one calls it the Grand Prix anymore. This is the year 2010, right? So we had to kind of then finding, okay, it's not called Eurovision Song Contest. So and now since then they've been way more into it. Yes, of course, once the results went down a little bit, it was kind of more like, but it was already way better than it was like in the late 2000s. So, but yeah, it's a similar kind of situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been a long chat. I'm not going to wait until Italy has the result.
Well, we nearly at that point, but
yeah,
okay.
But I'm glad people enjoyed the little chat here. Usually just trying to keep it on time, but hey, it is what it is. I haven't slept in God knows how long, so now we have all these shows. I'm gonna get some sleep now. The cat. Oh yeah, Dustin. Oh, both cats. Oh look, they're licking each other.
Ah, that's cute and happy feelings.
Yeah.
And now play Hartrid Musigra from Hattori in the background, and that will make a great scene. Yeah.
That song from Ukraine. I hate everything. I hate.
Oh god. Oh my god. My earphones even went out. Cool.
I know. Have you talked about Montenegrin song? Yes, we have. We have talked about everything but Italy. We talked about Italy as well, but we just don't know the winner. So anyway, I gotta go. You gotta go. We all gotta go. Enjoy the rest of the show in Italy, and with
Yep.
Katzen. And I will talk to you all later.
Bye.